This is Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi, and welcome to a Running Gears episode where today we're looking at the Adidas running line for 2021. Thank you for joining us here today. If you haven't watched the channel before, I really appreciate you guys. Consider subscribing, and if you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up. If you are looking for a new running shoe, and I guess the biggest people are going to be if you're sponsored by an Adidas school or a three-stripe athlete, obviously you want to stay in that three-stripe camp. Or if you just enjoy Adidas shoes, like this is something you like, whether you like their casual line, their basketball line. So we're taking a look at three of their all new, I guess, elite running shoes, and that's the Boston 10, the Adios Pro 2, and the Adidas Prime X. All three of these are crazy, and I know I titled the video the good, the bad, and the ugly. Honestly, it should probably be the good, the bad, and the crazy, but we'll get to that. So I guess we'll start with the cheapest, and that's relative. The cheapest shoe, and let me grab it here, that Adidas is offering in their Elite collection is going to be the Boston 10. This is something that is $140, and for that price, I don't know if I was expecting more, but that is kind of creeping up into this is an expensive shoe. If we look at last year's Boston 9, this is something that I believe retailed for like $110 or $120. I was able to pick mine up for about 60 bucks. Big difference. Now, as far as cushion technology, looks, everything is completely different. From the weight, the ride, the cushion, these could not be more different shoes, but they still follow the same ethos. These are supposed to be, and the Boston series as a whole is something you can use for a marathon. It is a faster day shoe, but this is definitely something you can use for pretty much all your training needs. It's a very versatile shoe. Now, it definitely is not a max cushion shoe by any means, but especially with the, at least started with the 7, maybe with the 8, 9, 10, well, now the 10, it came with light strike and boost, and this combination led to a shoe that was still fast, where you had that torsion plate, you kind of had that push off effect, but it absorbed impact really well, so you didn't feel that shock coming up your knees, your body. So it was something that ran quickly but still protected you so you can get the miles in. And again, this is not something I could run a marathon in, and I won't even pretend I can run a marathon. My miles usually are anywhere from 3 to 6 mile range, and this is something that was always really fun to run in. Now, let's take that to the Boston 10. This is something that is still using two kinds of cushion. It is using light strike, as we have here. Let's see if we can get a nice focus. But it's also using Light Strike Pro, which is what we first saw. Let me see if I can grab one here on the Adios Pro 1. So a lot of hype behind this. This is something that a lot of people thought, like, man, we're getting a super shoe for not super shoe money. So at $140, you're still getting, as opposed to the carbon rods, these are, I believe, just polycarbonate, so you still have a really nice flick, and this actually quite firm, but you have a nice push off effect. I believe this still has not a carbon plate, but kind of a plate in the heel, so it's a little more steady. And then you're getting that amazing Continental rubber that is really meant to log the miles. You're not afraid to wear this every day. Put a pounding on it, and it's going to last you. Now, a big difference between this year and last year, I believe, right off the bat, is the weight. This is a much lighter shoe, a much cleaner upper, where you can just tell it's breathable. It doesn't really take any break in, and this is similar to the upper they're using on some of the newer stuff, so it tells you how good of an upper that was. This actually takes it more towards your daily training. If we take a look here, you have some suede overlays, you have multiple different layers, and it fits well, it feels nice, it's more cushioned in the heel area. It's something that is a really good daily trainer, but I think it does lose some of that speed effect. Now, when you push it, it does come alive, but I think this is still a great daily trainer. The problem is, if we look at the rest of the market for just an amazing daily trainer, from the New Balance Rebel 2 to the Hoka Mach 4 to even going with the old school like the Pegasus 38, I think a lot of them are going to be just better overall trainers. This surprised me as a bigger runner. I'm about 240 pounds, and I like that I didn't feel the ground. So if you're someone who likes to feel the ground, don't get this. I also, as I picked up the pace, it had a little bit of bounce to it. Like it was pleasing. It was nice that this absorbed the impact, helped me kind of get into my stride, and had a little bounce to it. So I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of runners and a lot of reviewers are much lighter than me, obviously going faster than me. And so maybe they didn't enjoy the cushion as much, which I totally understand. But this actually worked really well, especially for a bigger runner. But I can also say the Hoka Mach 4 did all of this at a lighter weight that's more flexible, that I think is a better daily trainer. Same thing if you want to look at even something like the Pegasus. That React foam is softer, that 4-foot zoom has a little bit more bounce, and those are usually in that 120 range and have been on sale every now and then. So if you can get those less than 100, that 140 from this becomes a little tough to swallow. Now, if you do go to an Adidas school, or if this is something where you just want to have something that matches your collection, let's say you're wearing some Dames for basketball and you want to get a running shoe that matches your training, definitely it is a really nice daily trainer. Is it going to be one of my highest recommendations? No, but I can tell you, as a bigger athlete, as someone who is, I guess, not a fast runner, if that describes you in any way, the Boston 10 is something that's really going to work well for you. All right, so I know I talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly. That was actually the ugly duckling. I think that's a weird looking shoe. It's high stacked, but it's not streamlined. It's not really lightweight, and it's nothing crazy about it. It's still good, but that's the ugly shoe. The bad, I'm afraid, is going to be the Adidas Pro 2. This shoe, as cool as it looks, with its sculpted midsole, with its all Light Strike Pro foam cushioning, carbon rods, carbon plate in the heel, continental rubber, this material that is completely see-through. I don't know if you guys can see my hands in there. Like, it's completely molding to your foot. I know I didn't talk about sizing. All of these, I am a 12 double E. In most shoes, I'm doing a 12.5. Some basketball shoes, I have to do a 13. I was able to go true to size as a 12 in all of these. And Adidas sizing does actually run about a half size big. If your true size is an 11, maybe you want to do a 10.5 just to actually get a US 11. But these all ran really nicely, molded to my foot. As far as if you have a wide midfoot, a wide toe box, I would say of the three, this probably had the weirdest fit just because of the materials. It doesn't quite hold you in. There's not a lot of great things on the shoe outside of what engineering they put into it. So let's take a step back. The Pro 2 was released with a lot of hype, because the Pro 1 was actually quite legit. This is something that won some amazing marathons, and obviously give the runners all the credit, but this is something that put Adidas more on the map, where, hey, it wasn't all Nike. This shoe was literally just a slab of that Light Strike Pro, a very simple upper that reminded me a lot of the Boston 9, to give you kind of some credibility how good the Boston 9 upper is. It had a really stiff, nice carbon plates that you really felt that push off. For just my style of running, this just felt incredible. It was more stable than Nike's. It's still really lightweight, and this is something I actually have 2 pairs. If you guys are looking for this, you know, this is something I may consider selling since I have another pair, but I just like it in my collection because it does kind of match everything as far as that racing colorway pedigree they have. One thing that was a negative on this, and I need to have a full review, guys, if you're interested, if you wanted this shoe, but you didn't want to spend $200, you do want to go to eBay where these are going for whatever it is, $250, $300 more, the Atreyu Artist, this ridiculously stupid good shoe is half the price. This is $100, and this is honestly probably 98% the same shoe, and in most cases I would say this is going to be the better shoe. This I did a 12, this I did a 12 and a half, and I love it. This is something you can use as a daily max trainer, light enough to do a full run in. And again, this is one of the reasons where if you're looking for this kind of shoe but couldn't really afford it, or you couldn't really find it since these were harder to get, we had a lot of expectations with the Pro 2. The Pro 2 with that new upper, with that sculpted midsole, with all the engineering that should make this a better shoe. The problem is this is $220, and for $100, this is better in every way. Not only that, but if you are going to spend that $220, and I don't have the prices right off the top of my head, you have some of the newer super shoes from Adidas, from Asics, and then from New Balance, and I bring this, the Metaspeed Sky. This is ridiculously amazing. This is lighter, this is more stable, the carbon fiber has more pop. It is a better shoe in every conceivable category, which is why this is just the bad. For the money, you're not getting a shoe that has, it feels like it has less cushion than this model, to be frank. It doesn't have quite the pop off as any of all these other shoes do with that carbon fiber push. The ride really forces you to run a specific way where you have to land on your heel, you have to roll, and it really wants you to push off on your, I think it's your big toe really. Well, I land more on my midfoot. Shouldn't do that, at least on this shoe, and I push off more on the outside of my foot. This shoe is not having it. I wanted to like this shoe. It is cool looking, it is lightweight, the cushion still feels really good, but again, when I did an A and B run with these two, this still felt like it had more cushion. This still felt like it just had a better fit. God forbid you have to take a corner in any way. You are slowing down. There is no lateral stability in any way. There's not really a heel cup or structure. I constantly dealt with heel slip on this and had to do a runner's knot. And even then, I still had some issues where it just wouldn't stay locked in. There wasn't much redeeming the shoe outside of, as a sneakerhead, I respected what Adidas did, and sometimes, you know, as the saying goes, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. If you're going to make something a success, you're going to have to go through a few failures, and this year the Adidas Pro 2 was a failure. I have a lot of confidence their next version is going to be a great version, and it also goes right into the next shoe, the Prime X. So I can tell the Prime X was developed after the Pro 2, because this shoe pretty much solves everything the Pro 2 did wrong. Is it for everybody? No. I know in the beginning I said it should be the good, the bad, and the crazy. This is the crazy. If we're sticking with the good, the bad, and the ugly, the Boston 10 is still good, but it is the ugly duckling. This is the good and the crazy. This Prime X is an incredible shoe that is really Adidas's way of saying, okay, I see you Asics, I see you New Balance, all right, Nike with your Alpha Fly, top this. 50 millimeters of cushioning, which is actually illegal in many races if you're a pro running athlete. Sculpted midsole, Light Strike Pro, dual carbon plates, I believe, front and back with the carbon fiber rods. Again, did this also in a size 12. Fit is incredible. Heel lockdown is incredible. That upper just feels so much better executed. As big of a shoe as this is, and this is a chunker, it's not that heavy in hand. It's not that heavy on foot. This is for $250. Incredible, and there's not really a direct competition for this that is as light, as much cushion. I know we have the Bondi X coming out, which I definitely do want to try, and then we have something that's non-carbon plated with something like the Adidas, the Brooks Aurora BL, which is also a giant monstrosity of huge amounts of cushion. And for non-carbon plated shoes, this is one, if not my favorite, that's also lightweight. This, obviously, you have the carbon plate. This is going to give you a little bit of push off, but also I believe just compensates because there's so much cushion. Now, if you don't want to feel the ground, it doesn't get much better than this. This is straight out of like the Hoka playbook, where let's just put massive amounts of foam in there. Let's help the runner control that foam so you're not just all over the place running. And I don't know, for me, it just works. It has a really wide base. I love that it has the continental rubber, where it's something you can use way more often and you're not worried about the rubber getting worn down. It flexes better because you have more of an outsole. It's not so carved out. It lets you run a little bit more naturally. So if you're a mid-foot striker or a forefoot striker, guess what? That's okay. You don't have to be a heel striker like it does on the Pro 2. The forefoot has the most forefoot cushion, I believe, out of any shoe in the market. I am going to have a top 5 video of the most cushioned running shoes with plate and without plate. So if you like that, subscribe to the channel and I'll give you some cheaper options at $250. No, I can't tell you it's worth it, but I also can't give you a direct replacement. The Aurora BL, this is something I believe is $200. So obviously you can save some money on that, but you're not getting as much of that push off, even though it's incredible. This doesn't really have a direct competitor. That Bondi X is probably going to be the closest thing to it. I believe a runner just used these to win an official marathon a couple weeks ago and was banned, or not banned, was disqualified because he wore these shoes. The trainers that these runners work with are all athletes. The equipment managers really need to help these athletes who are focused on doing their craft with a team that gives them the best tools for the job. So whoever he was working with and said, hey, go run in these, you're gonna love them, and didn't tell them, hey, you can't wear this on race day, kind of screwed him over. He won the race, put in the work, and now it's disqualified because he wore the wrong shoes. Now, he could have easily put on the Pro 1s. He could have easily wore a different couple options. Maybe the Pro 2s work for him. I don't know his running gait or how he feels, but obviously he enjoyed these. He ran in these, but these are not race legal. I'm not competing in any races, and if you're watching this channel, odds are maybe you're not competing either, so it's okay for you to get your miles in. If you want something just max cushion, I actually wore these the day of a wedding rehearsal, and I got a ton of looks, and a lot of them were sneakerheads wearing Jordans and other shoes, and this shoe still got the most looks, which was really cool. Obviously, I wore some black Jordans, a little more dressy for the wedding itself, but the Prime X is just something. If you're looking for a max cushion shoe, if you're looking to put some long miles in, if you want it to be light and a little bit faster, let's say you've tried the Hoka Bondi, it's not as flexible, you want a little more push off. Let's say you've tried something in the Nike line, it's not as stable. If you looked at the Alpha Fly or any of their other running shoes, this is something that is very unique, and I think Adidas did a great job just laying the smackdown and telling every other company, yeah, we can do something really cool too. Adidas 2021 with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hopefully this video helped you out. If you want to see any other comparison or would like to see these shoes compared against other shoes, let me know. If you're interested in any of these, I do sell some of my older shoes on my eBay channel, so I'll put a link to that down below. And if you're interested in getting any of our Sneaker Years swag, please check it out. Go to sneakeryears.com and consider supporting the channel. Guys, girls, I really appreciate you. Hopefully this video helped you out. This is Levi of Sneaker Gears, and I will come at you later.